Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So I've done this video before, but I've wanted to go back and do it again, but this time with 2 Tacticians Precision, as Barbarian DPS will greatly benefit by it because you can now use 2 frenzies within an artifact call versus just 1, which means another hit of 1275 magnitude, similar to the wizard. But I didn't have another Tactician's Precision on my Barbarian, so I had to wait for, say, the new Bestial Fire Archon to come along, and we can now have the Demon Wings, and that giving us 2. Ultimately, this does increase the potential damage that Barbarian can output, and by not a small amount. This is still using this exact set of rules as we do for all of the other classes, and we indeed end up at 1.521 million encounter DPS right there for Barbarian, which is a significant increase from what we had when we were just using 1 Tactician's Precision. My best result back then was just 1.386 million encounter DPS. And you can really see that through the damage of Frenzy. It had like 111% effectiveness with, say, 172,000 encounter DPS, and now it's gone up all the way to 147% effectiveness at 305,000 encounter DPS. It is the main contributor to now being able to make use of 2 Tacticians Precision. I also stacked a bit of recharge speed as you need that as well, and we get to 28%, which is going to be increased by another 15% through the neck and waist set here. Keep in mind, in group content, you can do away with quite a few of these recharge speed bonuses by taking advantage of Blessed Advantage, which we can't right now in this test. And ultimately, let's show you the damage test for that, the exact rotation, and what power setup we're using. It is this right here, which results in that DPS output. Now, as I done in my previous video, I believe module 27 DPS tests, I did show you all of the other power setups and rotations you can use, and that was all of them here. So that basically allowed us to rank all of them, and at the time that's what I was getting with, say, 1 Tactician's Precision. Now we have 2 Tactician's Precision. I'm assuming the best setup here will still be like the best, and we end up massively increasing our damage output up to that 1.52 million encounter DPS. Of course, if you have any of your own tips how you think you could increase it a little bit more within these test rules, feel free to let me know. Now again, the rotation we are using for this test to get that DPS is with 2 Tacticians Precision, and you can see the exact order of the powers you use. Without 2 Tacticians Precision, you lose an absolute ton of damage because, see, without having any of them, you can only use your encounter powers once. With having 1 of them, you can use 2 of your encounter powers twice, Bloodletter and Punishing Charge. And then with 2 Tacticians, you can use all 3 of your encounter powers twice, significantly increasing your damage output. So, again, let's jump to the gameplay. You first want to set yourself up with like full rage and escalating rage, and then we begin here with the artifact call. So the frenzy, punishing charge, bloodletter, the crescendo, then straight into the mount power, bloodletter, punishing charge, and the frenzy, all done within 10 seconds, allowing for pretty significant burst damage here on Barbarian, combined with the insane like damage buff you're getting while just being within that escalating rage. And then it is pretty much just animation cancelling your Relentless Slash to get your rage back, and then going into rage and then using your encounter powers again. Generally do not use your encounter powers outside of rage, just animation cancel that Relentless Slash, and with brutal critical you get that within just a few seconds to that 50% rage, enter battle rage, and off you go again, casting your encounter powers, doing that burst damage. So you're like, a pretty heavy burst damage class. You do need a little bit of setup, making sure you have that full rage, being able to go into battle rage, and also having that escalating rage buff, which works out just fine when you're casting your Relentless Slashes there to get those stacks nice and easy. This is the second artifact call we're doing just here again, exact same rotation, getting all those powers in that 10 seconds. And with this setup, your frenzy is hitting for like another 6.4 million, and that would be the damage you would be missing out on. It would only do like 2 million max without all the buffs and debuffs that you would have in an artifact call. Otherwise, while you're in rage, you're using Brash Strike and then using the Relentless Slashes here again to get the rage nice and quickly. I'll show you the keybind you can use for that on PC and talk you through how it's done if you were to do it on console, but it's very doable, and essentially just using your sprint to cancel the animation to be able to recast it again nice and quickly. But again, building that rage back up, Relentless Slash also gives you that damage boost, and then again going into rage, casting those encounter powers and using that Brash Strike. But we're in the artifact call, so we're using our mount power, our daily power, frenzy. There's the last attack, and there you go. That was the third artifact call. We just need to do one more, and that will be it for the test. Again, I do the exact same setups, exact same stats and all that for all of the classes to try and get an equal comparison. And ultimately we can like rank them all based on single target damage, and I'm pretty much ready for that now after posting this video for you guys and showing what setups you can use and what I found to be the best on Barbarian here. And yeah, it is actually pretty powerful in the right situations. You get everything perfect and you're very solid, like basically better than Wizard in even single target damage. You just, yeah, are melee. You can't like afford to miss out on too much downtime in combat, so as soon as you have to move away from mechanics and things like that, you're losing out on damage versus a class that could, say, continually attack from a distance. And again, ultimately, here is the damage test with the time of 3 minutes and 16 seconds with these test rules, and that again is the best setup we found. Again, we did test previously all of those, but I didn't want to go through them all again, as it will be very likely none of them will beat this. Again, that's the rotations I recommend with the powers you use, depending on how many Tacticians Precisions you have, and that's the setup here. Just again, single target damage, maximizing that with groups who run artifact calls. Even without artifact calls, this will still be a very, very good setup to run. And from what I can see, it's, yeah, pretty much the best. You can play with a slight different variation. I know some people do with, say, over penetration and then also using Indomitable Battle Strike. I haven't found it to be as effective during this test. And so, yeah, it's not what I have been using here. It just seems to fall behind in damage, particularly when we tested back in March. You can see that here with Indomitable Battle Strike. I just couldn't find the best way to utilize that. It didn't make much sense either when you could just run Punishing Charge and gain the 5% debuff plus the 5% damage buff from Trample, which is going to end up being more damage than with just over penetration. Now, in terms of the keybind for animation cancelling your Relentless Slash, well, that's just going to be this here. You'll copy and paste that into your chat and you just click enter. And now when you spam, say, your right mouse button like you do here, you can see it will animation cancel Relentless Slash. That way you can gain rage very quickly because each hit will trigger your brutal critical as well, even though you're just spamming it. And if you want to do it manually, you'll just like hold down the at will attack button and then you'll press 2 opposite direction keys. So for PC, that's like A and D or W and S, and then you'll just like spam shift and that will do the exact same thing. Shift being your sprint button. So I'm not sure how you do it on a controller, but I know it is possible. But that again is ultimately Barbarian DPS and what I found to be the best setup right here. With that rotation, and outside of the artifact call, you're just making sure you stack up escalating rage and have enough battle rage to enter that, then using your encounter powers and then your Brash Strike. And then outside of that, when you have no rage left, you're just animation cancelling Relentless Slash to get that rage nice and quickly, and then you're back into rage using your encounters and your Brash Strike. So hopefully this helps. Again, it's just a little bit of an update from the previous one I did. This now taking advantage of 2 Tacticians Precisions. Instead of a little bit of recharge speed, you could potentially run 3 Tacticians Precisions, but I don't think it's very necessary and not exactly ideal either. So once again, a massive thank you to all of these channel members for your extra support. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.